What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse ranch, no hate. Look, let me talk to y'all about something real quick. Now, if you saw the Lomachenko fight, you know that Lopez Sr. basically shook the hand of Bob Arum saying that, hey, man, Lomachenko and Lopez is the next fight. Now, let me say this, okay? When they fought the first time, now the reason Lopez said he didn't see a reason for a rematch was because Lomachenko was so arrogant and so confident that he was going to beat Lopez that they didn't even put a rematch clause in, which is why they had to ask for a rematch. Okay, then he made all kind of excuses about his shoulder being hurt and all that. And okay, now he said he won the fight. So if you feel like you won the fight, you shouldn't have to talk about your shoulder. Okay, but understand this: Lopez was seen as a guy that was a good fighter that wasn't going to be, he just but wasn't going to have enough to beat Lomachenko. They felt like none of these guys are going to beat Lomachenko. Okay, they looked at Lomachenko the same way they look at Canelo. Like anybody that he can fight with it, whatever weight class he can fight comfortably, he'll beat anybody. So now, here's what happens. He's been calling people's names, saying he want to fight people. But what, we find out if you look at it, okay? He's still with Top Rank, okay? And he's re-signed with these guys. Now, he said he wanted to fight Lomachenko. His father did. Claimed that it was next. He's telling everybody that Tank Davis is ducking him and that, Floyd is the reason. Floyd is trying to protect Tank Davis, right? But this morning I read something that said that he already, now understand something. Let me make this clear. Kambosos is his mandatory. Now his fight was pushed back the first time because they didn't want to compete with Floyd. The second time the fight was pushed back. This is when Jamal and them, they had the fight going on then. They didn't want to put it for that date. Fight was pushed back. And then they're talking about him fighting again in August. The same fight with Kambosos, and it was pushed back because of, I forget who, somebody else, I forget the fight that's going to be then, but now they're talking about December. Then they're saying that his fight may be a co-main event because Oscar De La Hoya is supposed to be coming back. Let me give you a point. Tank Davis fights are not pushed back regardless to who's fighting. Okay? There's other fights, same thing. The fight's not pushed back. So you're going to tell me because Chavez came back? That's what it was. Because Chavez came back? Julio Cesar Chavez versus Hector Camacho Jr. That because of a 50-something-year-old, or however old he is, because Chavez came back, that's why his fight was pushed back? Here's my point when you guys are calling somebody superstars. If he was a superstar, his fight would have been pushed back regardless to who fought. Because that means he has a fan base that's going to say, nah, forget them other fights. I'm going to watch Lopez. Any fighter. Your fan base, they're going to watch you. So if that's what the case was, well, how do you end up on an undercard with Oscar De La Hoya, who hasn't fought in over a decade? Okay, how do you end up being a co-main event? No. So this is what I'm saying, okay? If we're talking about star power, we see that Lopez doesn't have that kind of star power. We already know that, okay? My thing is this. Now, they're calling out Tank Davis, but you saw his father go shake the hand of Arum and say that he's next. So why are you calling out Tank Davis and saying he's ducking when you already are locked in to fight Lomachenko? Okay, next. He's talking after Kambosos because Kambosos is his mandatory. So the question is this: are you willing to drop your fight with your mandatory, like they was trying to say AJ should have did to make the fight with Fury. Like he was willing to do that, step aside, put him aside to fight Fury. Is that what you're trying to do, or are you just basically capping and trying to make it look like, well, I'm calling these guys out, but they don't want to fight? And I'm saying that because I don't see how you can be locked into a fight already, but calling somebody else's name, and that's all that is capping. See, whether you like Lopez as a fighter or not, that's not the point. I like him as a fighter. And like I said, I was the one who was saying he was going to beat Lomachenko. And people was, nah, he ain't good enough, man. He all right. And I saw something in him that other people didn't see. Now, when he beat Lomachenko, it was like, okay, he made this speech at the press conference, the post conference about how he's going to, he's going to be the gatekeeper of this new generation. And we're going to see the best fighters fight each other. Since he's beat Lomachenko, he's done nothing. Okay. So to sit here and say, he's done this and he's done. What did he do? Until he was not even seen as an equal to Lomachenko. So until he beat Lomachenko, there's no other names on his resume that make his resume any better than anybody else in his weight class. Just because. No. Look, Tank, people said Linares was going to beat him. They said the other guy before that was going to beat him. The one he dropped the body shot. He knocked him out with the body shot as well. And it's always this person's going to beat him, this person's going to beat him. But then after Tank beats him, he was old. Oh, he wasn't in his prime anymore. Oh, that guy was washed up. It's an excuse. It's always an excuse no matter who he beats. So he's a 3-weight division champion, but now he's ducking a guy that's already locked into a fight. So a comment that Floyd was asked about, that he made up when he was asked about the fight of him, Tank Davis fighting Lopez, and he said, I'm not in the business of trying to make any other companies rich. Now, I take either he's saying, you want to fight Tank, come to my promotion. Just for that one fight, not even long term, or don't call our names out. Don't call out a Floyd Mayweather Promotions fighter when you know you're not ready for that to happen. I'm saying that's me, my opinion. Saying like I'm saying it could be one of those. I don't know which one it was. Okay, because to make sense out of what he said, just to say I'm not in the business of making any other fighter rich. Well, no, any other company rich. We know Tank has to fight. Okay, he stepped up, he fought Barrios, and people were saying Barrios was going to beat him. A lot of people was like, nah, he too big, too strong. Tank ain't gonna be able to do this, man. They underestimate Tank. When he wins the fight, my thing is this, right? People think that, or for the people that feel like Wilder won against Fury because he knocked him down twice. Well, how do you knock somebody down 4 times and still behind on the scorecards if that's the case? How? So for people that's, he was losing. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. This is not about who you like and who you don't like. We talking about principles, right? Well, then, if that's the case, when you call somebody's name knowing you already have a fight locked in, that's what you call capping. Okay? Because you're not willing. Your father just shook the hand of Bob Arum and said that Lomachenko will be next. That's the agreement that they want. Okay, no problem. Well, if that happens, fine. But you still have to fight Kambosos, who is your mandatory. And unless he steps aside, then you have to fight him. So this fight has been postponed. If he was a superstar, he wouldn't have to worry about competition. And you're not going to tell me that an old, flabby, saggy-chested motherfucker coming out of retirement is going to make me push my fight back because I'm worried about, well, they're going to steal some of my viewers. Nah, man. Hell no, man. That's not how that works, man. These people who are actually coming back out of retirement, look, Floyd Mayweather just fought Logan Paul, okay? And they had 1 million buys for that fight. That goes to show you how these guys are not superstars. They are boxers of this era. You can't get 1 million views, 1 million pay-per-view buys fighting against another current top star. So it goes to show you, like I'm saying, these guys need each other. So all this arrogance of I'm this, I'm that, and no. His fight's being pushed back. Now they explain, like I said, they explain the reasons why his fights was being pushed back. And then that whole testing positive with COVID stuff, I mean, whatever, man. At the end of the day, when you're calling out names, because even though he's supposed to be fighting Kambosos, he called out like Granados or something like that. And it's like, wait, what is? This is what I'm saying. I don't understand what the hell is going on in boxing when these guys are just saying names, and then they wind up fighting somebody that makes you go, why is these two guys fighting? First off, like, how did this happen? So, pretty much, y'all, if you feel like Floyd Mayweather is preventing the fight from happening, okay, Tank is the fighter, okay? And you got people handling his career. But let's be real. Somebody handling everybody's career. But what I'm saying, get your facts straight and understand what's going on. Because, see, I'm trying to understand who's telling the truth and who's doing what. When these guys just open their mouth to say they want to fight. Like, which one of y'all really want to fight, okay? But as far as what's going on, I read this morning about why Lopez fights was postponed. And then I'm thinking, damn, and you know what? Every time that his fight was, and they showed the dates and all, like, yeah, it was on the same date of other events that was happening that day in boxing. And every single one of those fights, his fight was pushed back. So this is 4 times now. Because now they're talking December. And then for you to end up being a co-main event on Oscar's card, Oscar shouldn't even be the headline, man. He should be the first fight before the last, not the next to last, not him the main event. That's crazy. That is crazy. He hasn't fought in so long, and now he's going to come back and fight, and then you're gonna be the co-main event. Nah, you're gonna be the guy fighting before. He's gonna be the main event. Nah, that shouldn't be. But at the end of the day, just like I said before, when fighters call somebody out, and you like that fighter, and you're saying, see, he called this person out, he called that person out, but you got to understand, these guys, okay, calling somebody's name and sending term sheets and contracts are 2 different things. Yo, let's make the fight happen. And understand, let me say this again, Lomachenko chose Lopez because they thought Lopez was not good enough to beat Lomachenko. It wasn't nothing about, oh, he stepped up and decided to take the big fight. No. Why would he not take the fight with Lomachenko? But they basically wanted that fight. He didn't go after them. They came after Lopez. They decided, nah, we're gonna beat this kid. He's only 23 years old. They thought this easy fight. Bottom line, he was supposed to be a stepping stone. Turns out Lopez was better than what they thought. So it's not like him fighting him meant that, oh, he called him out and this is like a mutual thing. No, it was mutual. Like, yeah, once they decided they wanted to fight, he won it. But no, they looked at him like they was going to beat him, shut his mouth, and then guess what? As far as him fighting Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, or Shakur Stevens, or anybody else for that matter, it's like the most comparisons that you're going to constantly hear has been Tank and Lomachenko. That's the 2 guys they've been talking about. Nobody was even talking about Lopez when they was talking about Tank versus Lomachenko. So now, and remember what I'm telling you. Now, what I'm understanding is he's supposed to fight Kambosos before anybody else because it's his mandatory. So that means the whole time he was saying he wanted to fight Garcia. And now, mind you, this was his words. Garcia's next. Oh, Tank's next. Haney's next. But yet, the whole time, you were already locked into fighting Kambosos because he became your mandatory. And then on top of that, the agreement that you and your father was trying to make was to get Lomachenko in a rematch. So now we know that. My point is, all of that talking, like I said, once again, was just capping. I'm going to be calling these guys' names out, but I know I already have 2 opponents that I'm locked in with. I already know that. And that's what's been going on. So if he beats Kambosos, then he'll be fighting against Lomachenko. And that's how that's supposed to go. So again, when you call guys' names out and then you don't fight them, it basically just makes you look foolish. So why are you calling these guys' names out and saying that they don't want to fight you? You're calling their names and you have a mandatory. And you know if you don't fight your mandatory, what's going to happen. And you know he don't want to get stripped. And on top of that, your rematch with Lomachenko. In fact, the guy, Nakatani, whatever, like he was supposed to be the opponent for Lopez before Kambosos became his mandatory. And that fight didn't happen. So now, you know, the next time you see Lopez in the ring will be in December, from what I read today. And if that's the case, then it'll be a while before he ends up fighting the Tank Davis or Devin Haney, if you really want to fight those guys, because he got to get past Kambosos in December, and then afterwards we're talking about Lomachenko. So if he fights Kambosos in December and then he wins, we're probably not going to see him fight Lomachenko until maybe the summer. You know what I mean? Maybe early summer or something like that. Because these guys are not going to keep fighting in between. And that's yeah. So he'll have a gap of time between it and let his body rest or whatever he needs to do. And then him versus Lomachenko. So why call out? And that's the guy. You wasn't calling out Lomachenko. You was calling out the other guys that you know that you couldn't fight because you was already obligated. And see, these are the type of games that I'm talking about that these fighters are playing. So I read this morning. And this is what's supposed to be going on. So I'm going to stay tuned on it, keep updated and see what happens. And then I'll let you guys know what materializes after that. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.